All right, what's going on? Today we're going to start talking about logic, and I'll have several videos on this. Today we're going to discuss statements, negation, and quantified statements. All right, so let's look at the definition of a statement first. It says a statement is a sentence that is either true or false, but, left that out, didn't I? But not both simultaneously. Okay, that's the definition of a statement. So let's take a look. Let's take a look at some statements. So here's three examples actually. So London is the capital of England. That's a statement, and that is a true statement. Okay. What about this one? William Shakespeare wrote the television series Modern Family. Okay. That's a false statement because he didn't write that. It's false, but it's still a statement. Because remember, a statement is a sentence that is either true or false, but not both simultaneously. All right. And then we have here, the United States has the world's highest divorce rate. Okay. Now, is that, when you think about it, is that true or is it false? Well, we may know that or we may not know that. That may be true, it may be false. But we know it's one of the other, right? See, when you're talking about statements, you don't have to know if it's true or if it's false. We don't have to know which one it is, okay? But we know it's either true or it is false. It's one or the other. So that makes it a statement, okay? Now we have sentences that are not statements. Think before you speak. That's not a statement. Does just saying annoy you in everyday conversation? And Titanic is the greatest movie of all time. All right. So a lot of times if you see sentences that are commands, questions, or opinions. Okay. So sentences that are, commands, questions, and opinions are not statements because they're neither true or false. Okay. They're not either true or false. And these are some examples. This is a command here. Think before you speak. Well, is that true or false? No, I don't know. Okay. It's not true. It's not false. And then this question here, there's a question, and then this is an opinion. Well, this may be true to some people, but then again, it may be false to some people. Okay, so that's not a statement. So, just look for, is it a command, a question, or an opinion? If that's the case, then it's not a statement. So, in symbolic logic, we use lowercase letters such as P, Q, R, and S to represent statements. Okay? So here's an example. P represents London as the capital of England. Q represents the statement William Shakespeare wrote the television series Modern Family. Okay? The letter P, this letter P here, represents this first statement, and this letter Q represents this last statement. This right here is going to be important later on when we're looking at statements and stuff like that, when we're using just letters P and Q and R and stuff like that. Okay. Now, what about negating statements? Okay. The negation of a true statement is a false statement, and the negation of a false statement is a true statement. All right. So let's look at writing the negation of some statements. All right. All right. So it says form the negation of each statement. So here it says Shakespeare wrote the television series Modern Family. So we want to write the negation of that. All right. So we could write, let's see, Shakespeare did not, okay, did not write the television series Modern Family. And this would be the negation of that. Okay. Now there's many ways that we can, there's different ways that we can express a statement's meaning. And for example, another way that we could write the negation of that. Okay. So remember, if you have something, the negation is not. It did not happen, or it's not that this, or it's not that. Okay. So Shakespeare wrote the television series Modern Family. The negation, Shakespeare did not write the television series Modern Family. All right. So another way that we could write this, another option, it is not true that Shakespeare wrote the television series Modern Family. So there's another way that we could negate it. Okay, both of them are correct. Okay, well, which one do you want to write? Okay, so for me, I think this one is. I would probably write it like this. It's simpler. Okay, just go with that. Which one is, I guess, easier to write? So what about this one? Today is not Monday. Well, if we write the negation, it is not true that today is not Monday. Okay, see, today is not Monday. So the negation of that, see, we still left is not Monday, but we added it is not true that today is not Monday. So that's one way to write it. Okay, but how do you think we would go about really expressing that if we wanted to write the opposite of today is not Monday? I mean, what's more natural? What would be more natural to you to express it in English? Well, maybe what? Today is Monday. See that? All right, so there's you some options. Just remember, when you're writing the negation, it's got to mean the opposite of the statement. Okay, it's got to mean the opposite of that statement. That would be the negation. All right, so earlier we did some stuff with letters and that kind of thing. You're letting a letter represent a statement. So let's look at that again. So it says, let P and Q represent the following statements. P represents the statement Shakespeare wrote the television series Modern Family. Q represents the statement, today is not Monday. So express each of the following statements symbolically. All right, so for part A, it says Shakespeare did not write the television series Modern Family. All right, so if we look at this, this is the statement P. Shakespeare wrote the television series Modern Family, and they're giving us Shakespeare did not write the television series Modern Family. So this is the negation of P, right? This statement P here. So how would we express the negation of this statement symbolically? So remember, P represents the statement. So the negation would be not P. This is how we express it in symbols. See, P represents this statement. And then this little symbol here, this is the tilde symbol. This means not P, which is this statement here, the negation. All right, what about B? Okay, so today is Monday. Well, here it says today is not Monday. So this is the negation of Q. So we would write that as not Q, or the negation of Q. All right. So I hope this is making sense so far. It's not that difficult. All right. So what about this one? Let P represent the following statement. P is the statement the United States has the world's highest divorce rate. Okay? And they want us to express the symbolic statement, not P, in words. So what this means is to write the negation of the statement P. Okay, that's what they're wanting us to do. Well, what's the statement P? The United States has the world's highest divorce rate. Okay, so not P. Okay, so how would we write that? The United States does not have the world's highest divorce rate. And that would be the negation. Okay, so basically all we've been doing in these last few examples is finding the negation. Okay, that's all we've been doing. It's just, instead of this, on some of them, instead of saying representing this with P and saying find the negation, okay, they're putting, okay, this statement P is this, and they want us to find the negation. They're just giving us the problem in terms of symbols. Okay, so, and you've got to get used to this, because later on in the course, you'll be doing truth tables and stuff like that, and you'll be using P and Q and R and S and this negation symbol and some other symbols. Okay, so that's what they're trying to do. They're introducing what a statement is. They're getting you used to, okay, let's start representing them with letters and stuff like that. All right, so now let's look at quantified statements. So quantified statements, the words all, some, and no. The words all, some, and no, okay, these words here, all, some, no, or none, are called quantifiers. A statement that contains one of these words is a quantified statement. Okay, and here's some examples of a quantified statement. All poets are writers. See, we've got the word all there. Some people are bigots. There's some. No common colds are fatal. There's no. And then we're back here to some. Some students do not work hard. Okay. So those are some examples of quantified statements. Okay. And here's some different ways we can express quantified statements. All A are B. There are no A that are not B. These mean the same thing. Okay. It's just a different way to write it. One's a little more complicated to write than the other. Okay. I mean, would we talk like this? Probably not. We would probably say something like this. Okay. All A are B. Or there are no A that are not B. Okay. So, something like a statement we could write if you had something like all poets are writers. Okay. If you said all poets are writers, how could we write that in an equivalent way? Well, we could write there are no poets that are not writers. Okay, so all poets are writers. That's the same thing as there are no poets that are not writers. Okay, think about it a little bit. It'll make sense. Okay, so all poets are writers. There are no poets that are not writers. Okay. And then what about this? Some A are B. There exists at least one A that is a B. All right. So if we look at this, some people are bigots. Okay. What's another way that we could write that? At least one person is a bigot. Okay, so some at least. Okay, those are going to be the same thing. Some at least. Some people are bigots. At least one person is a bigot. All right. Now, what about this next one? No A or B. All A are not B. Okay. So what about this one? No common colds are fatal. Okay, so if we wrote no common colds are fatal, then we could write what? All common colds are not fatal. Okay, which that makes sense. No common colds are fatal, so there's not a common cold out there that's fatal. Or we could say all common colds, all of the common colds are not fatal. Okay, just kind of changing the where we put the no or not or something like that. What about this? Some A are not B. Not all A are B. So how about this one? Let's see. Some students do not work hard. Some students do not work hard. So this is saying another way we could write this, not all students work hard. Okay. So it's just different ways to write things, but they mean the same thing. This would be something good for you to kind of look at, look at all that, and and look at these examples that I've provided over here in sentences, and just kind of go through them, think about them, and try to make a little sense about them. Okay. All right, so now we've got negations of quantified statements. Okay, so we've wrote the negation of statements, but now we have quantified statements. They're going to have all or some or no in them. Okay, so how would we write the negation of them? This right here is very important that you just know that. And if you know this, then you can write the negation of all of these statements. So basically what you're going to do, you're just going to kind of look at this and see if you can find something up here that matches it. All right. So write the negation of the statement. Okay. All humans are mortal. All humans are mortal. So that would be what? Some humans are not mortal. So some humans are not mortal. And that's all it is. That's why I said it's really important that you learn that. You need to know that. Okay? And it can go back the other way too. Okay? So what about this one? Some students do not come to class prepared. Okay? Some students do not come to class prepared. So how would we rewrite that one? All right, so think about it a little bit. Some students do not come to class prepared. So we're going from here to here. And what I would say is, if you're watching this video, just jot this down on a piece of paper so you can look at it, because I'd have to keep scrolling back up and down. So here we have some students do not come to class prepared. So that would be what? All students. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. Let's do this. Well, we know we're writing the negation, so let's delete that. And that's not going to work, is it? All right, anyway, that didn't work. But anyway, we've got all students come to class prepared. Okay. See, I just went from this to this. Okay. All right. So some psychotherapists are in therapy. Some psychotherapists are in therapy. Some psychotherapists are in therapy. No psychotherapists are in therapy. You see that? So that would be no psychotherapists are in therapy. And that would be the negation. See, just like I said, just go back up here and try to memorize this, know this, and then you can just go back and forth. Just write that on your test as soon as you get it. Okay? And what about this one? No well-behaved dogs shred couches. No well-behaved dogs shred couches. No well-behaved dogs shred couches. So the negation would be what? Some well-behaved dogs shred couches. Okay. So some well-behaved dogs shred couches. And that's it. And that's the negation. So it may take a little time to wrap your head around this. Okay? But try to get to where you can understand this section, and that's going to make the rest of this logic stuff kind of just fall into place. Okay? You may just need to spend a little extra time on this section, getting used to statements and stuff like this. This is probably something that you haven't seen a lot of, or maybe not have seen it, or maybe not have seen this at all in your math classes, that you've taken so far. So just spend a little time and go through it and all that good stuff. It can get kind of overwhelming and confusing at times, but just go through it, go back through the video if you have to, and look at these examples and try to make sense of them. Okay, so I hope this helped. Check out my other videos. Give me a like, share, and subscribe, and thanks for watching.